Okay, so we have this environments redesign bugs and features epic. A big focus of this will be two aspects, the environments list and the environments dashboard. Just as a quick overview, we have several different user insights that are related to an environment list, how it exists today, and what they're hoping to accomplish from this view. So typically a user will end up on the environments list page after they've had a pipeline failure or deployment, and they want to view the related activity of that commit to that environment, or they're coming to it from the environments dashboard if they're using the environments dashboard. So when users land on the available page, they know that they have an environment name, that they've named it in their YAML file. They've either created this environment in the UI or from the YAML file in a job, and they're looking at the latest deployment. They're also, if they have Prometheus integrated, they'll be looking at how that environment's performing. They also have the option to redeploy to an environment. So let's say that this is a failed pipeline commit and they want to redeploy. And then the idea of a stopped environment is one that's no longer active that they want to not deploy to or be available for deployment. In our redesign, we have a couple of items related to when a deployment is in progress, indicating that on the environments list. We also have a couple of other timers and buttons that are indicated as wanting to be added in the environment view. And then there's this interesting issue around environment display name and understanding the various names that are tied to an environment displayed inside the environment view. This seems like a very specific use case in that the name of the environment is not readable for that customer. So they're wanting a way to have both of those names specified inside of the environment list. Some of the insights that I have learned from customers is that available environments is a little confusing, given that this environment is actually active. It currently has a deployment on it. And although it's available to be deployed to, people could still redeploy to a stopped environment, meaning that that could also be available if you redeploy. So this idea of stopped versus available is not a very useful paradigm or binary for them. They also made some commentary around how obvious this delete button is and how it's like really screaming at them to delete this environment. And that's okay. Yeah. That's just, they're like, it's a really big call to action, whereas it might make more sense to have that be an outlined box. The new environment button is really useful and people do like being able to create an environment from this. But this screen state here, I think also is tied to, oh dang, I lost my issue. Give me a second. There it is, sorry. Lost my epic there. They want to be able to, right here. So button deploy to should also be manual job. This is another feedback component. They want to be able to, know what the difference is. Like that's kind of a convoluted concept.
Yeah, and so when you have like the manual and the other one, so, okay, I understand now, because only the tooltip is the cue, right? But the button is the same.
Yeah. Right, exactly. It indicates like the same action, but they're two different things. In this view, the new environment view, this people want to oftentimes select variables. This might also be a view that we would want to extend access to. So for example, do we want this to be a group environment? What other projects should be able to access this environment? And having a pick menu that allows maintainers to select the availability of this environment from this view. So that goes back to our sharing or supporting grouped environments. That would be this view that we'd want to update. Is this useful?
Yeah, super.
Okay. I was like, I feel like I'm just like talking to you, and I was like, okay, let me check in real quick. And as we look at, like, this is a little cool indicator here once it's expanded. And you can also go from the environments view into an environment view page, which is about the production ID right here, like the environment ID. And then you have all these different jobs that are related to this production environment. Mm-hmm. And it's not very clear as to, from a user's perspective, if they can roll back or redeploy from this view, because you see it's the same icon but reversed, and they have to hover over it to do rollback and then redeploy.
I've been working for this company for 1.5 years. I've never really noticed that these buttons were different. It's rollback. Yeah. Okay.
So you have to hover over it, and if you're doing this from mobile, it's impossible. So we need to make this a little bit more usable from this view. We also had some other feedback on wanting to make the logs a little bit more discoverable from that view. So here it gives you a job and it's hyperlinked, but where does it go, right? Yeah. Like, do people know that they can click on that to see the logs? It might be more beneficial to have, that this is a job log, or understanding like what that's linking to, because if you click the success button and the production link, it takes you to the same log. So it's kind of confusing as to like, why are both of them linked? And
yeah, can you go back, Jackie? So I just quickly see the flow.
Okay, so going back to the breadcrumbs, if I go to jobs, I'm at the pipeline view.
Yeah.
If I go back to environments and I click into my production environment, I can see this link right here. And if I open that link, it brings me to the job, but the breadcrumbs are not the same. Okay. It doesn't take you back to the environments. It takes you back to a job log. And that's very challenging to grasp, because here you're expecting to know all about the production jobs, but this doesn't even show, like, this is the name production environments. This isn't descriptive of these are the jobs related to to production. And in addition to that, you click this link, it takes you to the exact same logs as the success button.
And that one is status and job. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's here. Status and job columns. Okay. I think this can be challenging from a technical point of view. We had the same discussion, right, related to release pages and the edits and releasing edit tags. I wonder how that could be solved from a front-end perspective.
And really, I think that this is just more like indicating that this is production jobs. Like this is jobs related to production on this page, and creating the same, like, like the same little banner that shows like this is a job inside the production environment would be useful.
Awesome.
And then we have the commit here, and the commit brings you to like the change that was added, and a merge request here. So I wonder if it makes sense to incorporate the merge request link here as well, or to bridge that experience a little bit better.
Yeah, that's something that we've seen so often when we're validating, also observing users, that they really go into every single UI elements to understand why this pipeline, why this merge request, this job is different. So yeah, I think it's also a challenge because we have so much information that it's super relevant in the UI and very limited space. So maybe when looking at this view specifically, I know that this is not a view component yet. So maybe we can already have conversations with the front end to maybe improve this view, not just add one element there, but we can possibly rethink if this list view is the best way to analyze it, the content.
Yeah. And I also wonder if there's an opportunity for us to connect something like release tags to this environment view, that people are able to go to their deploy job and to the release tag that contains that deployment.
Because in this view, since it's everything related to production, do they still want to see all the logs, or is it like the, I don't know, the 5 more recent how to say, the pipelines and things that pass there? Because I'm thinking like there's no search in this page. There's no filter, no sorting, anything like that. So is there a way, that where users can consume like a limited amount of information so that we can play around with the UI and just make farming here?
No, that I feel like that makes a lot of sense. I'm perplexed at what action are we expecting users to take from this view versus this view. Like, what are we trying to make them do? Because they say virtually the same thing, but one of them is the jobs within the environment, and then the other is just the environments. Yeah. And this, imagine if you have over 100 environments.
Yeah.
Like, this page is rendered also unusable. And then how do we reconcile the purpose of the environments dashboard with the environments view here? Like, what are the purposes that we're trying to render?
Yeah, because we call this a dashboard, right? That's the question that Dimitri just posted a couple of hours ago about this view. What is it called? It's not operation dashboard. It's
environments page.
Yeah, they call deploy boards. So I wonder if it's, I know it's useful, but if it's really the right place. And because if we have the environments dashboard and you can have the information about your pods and the instances, everything there, this view becomes relevant.
It does. You're absolutely right. Like, and really maybe this should be renamed deploy boards instead of environments page, because this environment list isn't different than the environments dashboard. It's the same exact information repackaged.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's go back to so we talked about people wanting to see different attributes. And I'm reading a bunch of Like the build page is this page. So it's the job page that people are referring to as the build page, which I didn't know until like right now. So, so this makes a lot of sense as to like, okay, I want to see this, or I want to see my deployment, a link to my deployment. Okay. And make that, that's like 5 clicks right there. Shit, hockey mushrooms. Just to be able to see my deployment from the job log. Like that's a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
Okay. And then no deployments yet, filling environment list and pipeline when using manual deployments.
Yeah, this is the, like an empty state. Is this the one? Yeah, it when you don't have deployments, it just shows nothing. And this proposal is to add the empty state.
Okay.
And say that you don't have deployments yet. Right now, the page doesn't do anything, just doesn't render anything.
Got it. Alrighty, let's see. What other thoughts are there on this? I guess we can navigate up to the improving environments and look at just the general bugs that people have submitted in relationship to environments. We have 31 issues in here. And there's lots of different things, including wildcard environment variables, supporting existing deployments, multiple jobs for same environment. So again, it's reconciling things like the jobs page with the environment when there's multiple jobs being run. So for example, production is your environment, but this page is the jobs of that production environment. But these are all different jobs, right? So how is this usable?
Yeah, you really need to be a master in GitLab and really know what every UI element means and where to find things. It's really really painful if you have to work with this amount of information.
Totally.
Without being able to filter. That's a thing I'm still perplexed. That in most fields you cannot filter and search. I think this will help a lot. Make this a bit more useful.
Yeah, for sure. So some of this stuff is just like UX stat too, like loading spinner has low contrast, red, green buttons. And then some of them are environment variables too. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I reproduced this error the other day.
That's miserable. Oh God.
11 months ago, Jackie. This has been opened 11 months ago.
Oh no.
I mean, I think maybe because you only have one item there, you don't really notice. Because I never notice, and every time I go to this page, I actually navigate and wonder.
I just don't know how people are managing. Like this is where I know release orchestration is so bad. Because I'm like,
sorry, everyone. We're gonna fix it.
How are you even doing your job?
You're trying to scroll outside the containers, like, oh crap, I scrolled within the container. I'm sorry.
I just
We're gonna fix it.
Okay, we should fix this. So, but I also wonder, is there a better way for that functionality to work? So like in this little dealie here, Um, should this not be a little play icon? I guess it has to be stopped. So should this not be a play icon? Because it's only in stopped environments, I guess.
So the previous one, these are all stopped. Okay.
So even in this view, it's a dynamic review app, and he is looking at the review deployment right here, which is the job, and he is looking to redeploy from that job. Yeah. So he is in this. He's in a.
So he's in the available view. Oh no.
But he's from this view. It's just for some reason this doesn't show because it's not a dynamic environment, I guess.
He has a test project. You can actually click the link in the description of the issue.
Oh.
What is it, Nathan? Create an environment. Oh no, sorry. I thought you had. I checked this in my test project. Let me check this.
What's your project name?
It's my Ruby app thingy. Here. Operations, environments. Yeah, it's just on the. Okay, it's on really on the available. I'm not sure if you'll be able to access this, but I can share my screen. That's fine.
Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Can you open review? And for some reason, I went to stop in the tab, and then I went back to available, and then reloaded something different. Try it out.
Oh, it's so weird. I don't know. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that?
I don't know what happened. It just went back up. Where is it? Because I know I have all these environments.
Okay. So for some reason, let me see if I can reproduce that. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm here. I click to the review.
Yeah.
And then I go, that's not right. Go to stopped. And then come back.
Ta-da. Because the review, I have review. But it's like all this. Review now disappeared. Eh? You have review, but you don't have as a folder anymore. It's the fourth one.
What happened there? That's not right, is it? Like it shouldn't work that way. Okay. That's strange. But either way, that first bug that we had, the first thing that we reviewed, which says this little icon here looks like it's a manual job, but then we're giving people the option to deploy to other available environments from this view, from this little icon. So I wonder if there's something different that we should be doing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because now you only have desktop review options, and that's another tricky thing that I would like to understand. What are the options within this dropdown for us, to be using a dropdown component? Because now you just have stop review, but is it even necessary? I know that's in other use cases you have a bunch of options, but they seem very contextual, and maybe they can leave.
Right. Okay. That's helpful. Let's look at. So the way I was thinking for the bugs that I had added to the environments bugs to fix epic, these are all bugs that are valid, one, but then there are also in areas that we haven't changed. So for example, like this one here, can you still see that?
CI environment status, this one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is an endpoint problem. So it's a bug that's in the back end. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, this one is fine to keep in the bugs, because it's not going to matter what we do no redesign is going to fix that, because it's an endpoint issue. This is also an endpoint issue. And then manually renaming environments breaks future deployments.
Yeah.
Is weird. And it's also crazy that this is still out there.
This one doesn't really touch anything. It breaks, but then does it result to something in the UI? And if so, do we want to, I don't know, I know it's a bug, but in case.
Yeah, no, this is a good question.
Yeah. Should we alert people somehow, or, you know, because now, yeah, it's just happening, but let's say that there's a use case where it's part of the workflow, not a bug. How are we alerting people?
Right now it says that each respective pipeline step shows the message, this job is an out-of-date deployment too. Mm-hmm. And deleting the old renamed environment does not fix the issue.
So it's really like people don't know where to get help from. Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And the progressive delivery weighed this one, I guess, because I wonder if this is a bug that Orit flagged. I don't know. But either way, it looks like UI won't be impacted by it. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if we should support in our redesign the ability to rename from the UI.
Yeah.
And have that still work, right? I don't know if the bug fix will address this, you know?
Yeah. Because it's fine if you have the possibility to say, yeah, something's broken, here's how to fix it, and then you go to the docs and you can fix that in the command line. But if it's something that's, it's already like part of it's already in the UI, mm-hmm. where you create and name the environment, why not allow users, like what you're saying, go to the UI, rename it, since the form already exists.
Right. Okay. I guess Orit might be planning to deliver that issue though, so that might be a fix that she'll render. I guess this should actually go to our environments dashboard epic, because it's an error message incomplete.
Feature possibly broken. I love those titles. Like announcing the bug.
Potential feature broken. I love it. Let me redesign, go to the epic, and add this puppy in there. Okay. So I think we've kind of exhausted the three main things I feel like is wrong with the environments view right now. The first one being you launch into the jobs view once you click into the production environment without knowing that's where you go. The jobs view, once you click into it, is unclear from redeployment to rolling back. And then also the duplicative nature of the job link and the status link should get fixed. Mm-hmm. Looking at the environment's dashboard, we are calling out the exact same things on the dashboard as we are on the environment's view. So even if we allow pagination of this view, how is it differing from the environments list and the deploy board view? I know that customers like to see the buckets of staging and production. They like the visual here, right? And they like being able to see the apps like right from that same place.
Yeah.
But you could do that today in the environments list, right? So some things that we can do here is add a couple of charts that probably indicate like, you know, performance of environments, like number of active environments or available environments, number of stopped environments. You know, that's one option to make this a little bit more usable or different from the environments list. Or we deprecate the environments list and just have job lists from this view.
I was thinking if it would be also useful to have both the environment dashboard and environment list view as let's say that you can switch, you can change views, right? The same way we're thinking about with the releases, like a calendar view or whatever. If you want to look at the list view, you can, and if you want to look at a more detailed, like data-driven, you know, UI, you could do that with the environment dashboards, and then this way we unify them instead of having.
I love that. So taking this environments dashboard, we would probably work to move. Let me pull up Kenny's app again. We could move this page, the environments page, out of the project and nest it in the environments view right here. Okay. Yeah. And that would allow two things really well off the top of my head. Once we support environments at the group level, that is way more easy to navigate because they're already shared assets across projects. So it doesn't really make sense to have the environments nested under the operations view. The only thing that we may want to retain is the deploy board for the project. So it might just be that we carve out the deploy board section and keep that in the project and call this environments instead of environments deploy board.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was the deploy board, right?
No. I was a bit surprised when I had to work on some redesign of these icons, and I was really looking for a dashboard, like environments board, and then it was this one thing.
Yeah.
So the detailed view when you expand your environment in a list view. So if that's really relevant to users and they want to consume that data in a specific way, in a specific workflow, why not? Why not make it more permanent? Yeah.
So I love that idea, Rayana, moving the environments list into the environments dashboard section. I think that that's a really great first step. And maybe the MVC there is that we duplicate the view and then we remove the environments view in the second iteration from the project. That might be. Okay.
Yeah. That would be super powerful. You wouldn't have to look for anything. You can see everything related to your environments, your deployments, and then as we move with these functionalities, we can start also figuring out how people are actually navigating and what information we prioritized when we compare both views.
Absolutely. So then if we were to move this view, this environments list view into the environments dashboard section, we could have multiple tabs, I guess. The first tab that would allow people to flip back and forth between the view list view and the dashboard view. The next problem would be sorting and filtering. And then I suppose sticky filters so that people could bookmark views that they want to only see.
Yeah, like highlight or mark some of the projects or the environments, because right now you add, this is still linked with the operations dashboard, So if you delete something here, it's going to delete also from the operations dashboard. And I know, I think Andy, he designed, and he's UX designer, he designed a couple of mockups where you would have, when you're adding a project there or adding an environment, in our case, you could search from your favorite projects or the projects that you that have what do you call it, recent deployments or whatever. So it would be awesome to give people this flexibility, because we already want to, like what you're saying, as on a group level, to show them for environments, right, that are used across multiple groups, multiple projects.
Right.
But yeah, maybe there's a different use case, and you can kind of swap and change what view and what criteria you want to see here.
Right. And I think that there's probably a third view, which is like a heat map for your environments. That is like, how are your environments performing? Are they red, green? You know, like all of them in a color graphic, you know, because that's what people who are managing hundreds of environments need to see at a quick glance, like where are things at, right? So I think that that might be a way to triage their workflow. It's like the top of this is a heat map that shows all of their environments on a red to green, you know, scale. Kind of like the deploy board, you know, but have that be for environments.
Pagination, let's not forget that. I know we're already discussing pagination, but I wonder what the engineers are going to say about performance.
And Jake, he's looking into that, I think, this milestone too. Because he's like, I don't know how we're going to paginate from the back end. I was like, oh no, this is going to be great. And so I think, like, though, it'd be kind of cool to see if we could do a proof of concept of, like with Nathan or something, of adding a heat map chart to the top of this dashboard that pulls in, it's static. It just pulls in all of the group's environments. And it uses, you know, it's either failed or passed, and it's either green or red, based off of the last pipeline to that environment.
Okay. Based on what? Can you repeat the last part? Sorry.
Based off of the last pipeline. So just like how these are red and green, red, I think, because it's failed, like we would use the same logic that's populating these colors to populate the heat map on the environment dashboard. It would just be all the environments in that chart and their last pipeline status. Just to give them a glance, like that could be, right.
Do we have anything from our competitors that we can look at? That it's,
I think Jenkins.
This one. Okay, this is actually what I think was the environments dashboard MVC. Let me see. There was an issue about that.
And this is how I'm used to seeing it. Like when I was doing this for my job, when I was getting paid to do deployments, these are like really, this is it. Like this is a very common way you want to see your things, right? Like you have your project name and you have your environments and they're color coded.
Okay, so this is similar to what the environments dashboard used to, like the initial MVC 4 years ago. They wanted to just have like a TV view, a TV use for the environments dashboard. Yeah,
right.
So it's okay.
Did they ever implement this?
No, this is what we have now for the environments dashboard.
Oh, but it's not.
No. We have the colors. We have red and green. So the scope, the actual scope was to have like a viewer. The teams could just put on TV on a large
Right.
display and see the status of their latest pipelines and deployments. So fail, pass, whatever. So there's a bunch of screenshots and UI
Yeah,
examples in the comments from.
yeah, this is exactly though like what we need.
Mhm.
This is what they want to see. What they being our users. Um, so I wonder why we couldn't implement this.
I think the scope was just too large, and by the time that it was actually when I joined GitLab, this was maybe one of my second big tasks, big issues, and yeah, exactly. These are the example. Um, we just wanted to show on the UI the endpoints that we already have, reusing the existing operation dashboards, and then that was it. We didn't look back ever since.
I see. Okay. So I like I think that the only thing I'm wanting on top of this existing view um, is this whole idea of like a higher level. So like say that we split this screen and we draw like a horizontal line right here, and the top thing right
Mhm.
under the environment's dashboard is just this static heat map that shows red, green squares for all the environments in your project. And
Yeah,
then there's another horizontal line that gives you this interaction per project, per tile here. So then you're getting your global view and then your drill down view in the same screen. And you don't even need to interact with this heat map up here because you have these little tiles to interact with. This just gives you like are 50% of my environment's green, are
yeah.
50% of them in progress, or 50% of them fail. Like gives me a glance to
Mhm.
see that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. That's exactly the purpose of the environment's dashboard. And I think,
I'm
well, honestly,
sorry.
I think the execution, because we didn't validate. This was the first issue I remember that I wanted to do. I proposed doing the what we call now problem validation.
Yeah.
No, we cannot do problem validation. We don't have time. Let's just build it. So
Well, now nobody's using it.
yeah, exactly, and I think that's a great learning for us because we're revisiting it now more than a year and a half later, and
Right.
I knew from the beginning some of the pain points. So
Right.
yeah, we're improving.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So I would love to see, I'm going to talk maybe with Nathan, I'll create an issue. And I think that the MVC of if we can it just ingest from the environment's view all of the environment's lists inside of that group and populate a chart with it, um, that'll solve a lot of our customers' pains on navigating across the list, because the list is it's so hard to navigate today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you have more than one environment, like this is really clean, this is easy to use and navigate, but when you aren't using Kubernetes and when you have hundreds of environments, there's no way to be actionable from this view.
Okay.
Okay. And then I agree, I would love to remove this view, this environments view, and put them in the environments dashboard as a tab to toggle between.
I think that'll be interesting because not only we can connect things, but also make the workflow a bit more easier. You know,
Totally.
it would make more sense. That's my gut feeling about
Yeah.
this. And the UI polish, the improvements. For example, this button, the red button delete, it's legacy. It isn't supposed to be like that. And if you want to, in the meantime, tackle those small UI changes and improvements, I think we can just move ahead and tackle them. If that will make people happy in the meantime.
Yeah, I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. Let me pull up one of the epics. I do want to make like progress on our on our on our on our bugs here, and I think that the user story mapping might be really useful to group these by. but I also feel like things like this, show when a deploy is underway on the environments list. I think we have that though on the environments dashboard because it's like running.
What's that? Can you go back?
Sorry. Show when a deploy is underway on an environment list. I think we changed this.
In proposal indicates on the environments page that a pipeline is in progress. Okay.
Now I see. It's the difference between the
okay.
between this view and this view.
Yeah. Okay. Bring like the latest pipeline there, right? The 156. Mm-hmm.
But if we combine environments page, like this page, this view with the environments dashboard, then we're in shape. We solved that problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can toggle between the views.
But if you toggle, you still want to see the status, because on the dashboard, you have the latest deploy, the latest environment, right? So, and on the list view, you don't have the same UI element. So yeah, if you're using the list view the most, you don't get the same type of information.
Yeah. I am curious though, that once they're in the same place, if they need to have the same exact information.
In the future, we can even allow people to customize what they want to see there.
Yes, I love that idea.
Yeah. But I think also from just to make things standardized and the UI more polished, I would expect to see the same information.
Okay.
Same type of information.
And I guess from this view, updated probably is should probably be changed to the status indicator.
Updated, and if you go back, what happened? Updated, as in what? The last
deployment.
The last deployment. Oh, deployed and updated. It should be the same title.
Yeah, like should be deployed, and then I think that will help bridge the last time that it was
and just deployed.
Okay. Weird. Okay.
No, but this is very similar to what we did for the releases page. If we have the chance to look at this more holistically and then look at the workflow, make UI updates and break it down into multiple issues, we're gonna be able to fix this the small inconsistencies. These pages are so old that I don't even blame anyone for writing different copy in the UI. It's just
I know, for sure. Okay, so next steps, I will create those issues for grouping these bugs or experience problems by user story. Or really, I'm going to create issues for user stories and goals that we want to accomplish with the environments page. And then we can relate the specific issues and scope so that we can make sure that we're including all of the relevant acceptance criteria. Because I think what I'm struggling with right now is being comprehensive in our solutions while being proactive for our design, you know? Because like, if Jake and Nathan are in the code fixing something in the front end from a bug perspective, it might be easy to just, button up.
Yeah, but I'm like, yes and no.
I know.
because I know that the more changes we make directly in the front end, I kind of feel like I lose the overview of what the capability is, because then it doesn't happen that often, but it might be oh my God, sorry Jackie, sorry everyone watching this, it's late.
No, I get it.
A chance that I just don't know like what the product is anymore, and I've seen that happening in some of the progressive delivery issues, capabilities, but as long as we discuss it, I'm fine. Let's just do it in the front end. But you know, just making sure that, yeah, we know the scope of the capability. That's pretty much.
Okay. I love it. All right. I know that we're like 15 minutes over. Thank you for listening to me and my blabbering. I appreciate you. Okay. Perfect. So I'll create these issues, I'll ping you on them, and we'll start creating scope for how we want to fix these pages.
Awesome. It was gonna be fun. Thank you, talking.